welcome to our live number 2.
That's right.
Welcome to those that are new tonight and to all those that came and joined us last week. It was so great having all of you. So you know me, Carla and Lee, most likely as Twin Time Adventures on TikTok. Lee is our taster, but you may not know that he's also written a memoir. And so last week he read chapter 1. Tonight he's going to read chapter 2.
Christian's here.
Who?
Christian Creeves.
Hi, Christian.
I love it.
So chapter 2 is Lee, always the thrill seeker. This is going to be a really fun chapter for him to read. So we're going to have Lee explain a little bit about the book and a little recap from chapter 1, and then we'll go right into chapter 2. And then we have a chat there. Please put your questions in there, and Lee is ready to answer any questions you might have. So Lee, take it away.
Well,
Ashley's here. Ralph's
Ashley.
here.
oh gosh, that's
Candy,
good people.
Rosita.
Oh,
That was
nice.
so fun.
Oh, got a whole bunch of people.
That's
Welcome.
nice.
Lot more than last week.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
that's good.
Yeah, this all started, well, 6 years ago. And
Kim's here.
I was injured playing polo down in the desert. And chapter 1 basically went through the day I was injured playing polo. Ended up on my back, paralyzed. And eventually, over the next hour, was transported to an emergency room where I was CAT scanned and found that I broke my neck, and they ended up having surgery, and this all basically has generated a situation where I'm finally coming out of the trauma, and I've been telling people my story over the last 6 years, and every time I do, it's been interesting enough that people have said, you should write a book about this. And so the process started almost a year ago of me trying to recollect everything that had happened. And I pushed a lot of that into my memory bank where I really didn't access it for all those years. And now I'm doing that, and essentially going to go over the next month or maybe 2 a review of these chapters. And I'm doing it because, one, I want to invite people to just get a taste of the book and even respond to it. And if you wish, you can give us feedback on it, because what I'm going to be reading is a rough draft, really. It's not the final it's not the final chapter, but a framework of what we're doing. So.
Okay, so that's Wilson chewing in the background over there.
If you hear noise, we have the dog.
Oh my
Wilson,
God.
calm down.
Yeah, he gets a little crazy, but
Totally.
he was part of the story.
Yeah.
Big part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're just
And
now
we'll-
joining, welcome.
Yes, lots of people joining.
Oh, good.
Yes, and we're so excited that you're here. And Lee is about ready to read chapter 2 from his memoir, and we're excited that you're here.
And it's called Lee, Always the Thrill Seeker.
And this is giving just some background on me, and it's just a
Yes.
short chapter that is just going to go over how and why I even started playing polo in the first place.
Right.
And so here we go. So long before polo entered his life, Lee had developed a reputation among his friends for something else entirely, an appetite for adrenaline. The impulse really began searching for adrenaline when I was about 6 years old. And it was back before I had grown up on the farm. And I recall just going over to a neighbor's house with a babysitter, playing with a little balsa wood flying plane, ended up on the roof. And somehow I clambered up onto a fence and then onto the roof, threw that thing off, and then felt like maybe I could fly because the ground was only, 20 feet down there. So I just jumped off, and immediately my foot just was acutely painful. And the babysitter just grabbed me by the arm and pulled me home, saying, just get over it, and we'll be home in a little bit. And when I did get home, my dad came home shortly thereafter and saw this big swollen, bruised foot and immediately fired the babysitter, took me to the ER, and we found a broken ankle, and I got a cast, which obviously was only on there for 6 weeks. But
It's a 6-year-old.
yeah, 6 weeks, and then I started walking normally, and then basically we grew up on a farm. And from that preface on that, I will continue. When I was around 9 years old, me and my younger brother Tom, we raised sheep and participated in 4-H. But much of their free time was spent pushing the limits of what their parents might have thought was safe. Boys would jump on their horses, oftentimes bareback, and race through the woods. We didn't use saddles, just bareback pads, so we had nothing really to hold on to, Lee said. No stirrups, anything like that. So it was just fun and exciting. We really loved that. Lee remembered the time both he and Tom jumped on Red, their dad's huge horse, after bridling him. Lee was up front, Tom was hanging off in the back. Well, we started running back to the farmhouse from the field. Red stumbled and fell, and we went flying. We both got up laughing, totally unharmed, of course. Fast forward into high school, we got cars. It was really crazy. I drove way too fast. And soon, his appetite for speed and acceleration had expanded to additional pursuits. In the summer months, he learned to saltwater water ski with friends, carving tight turns across the lake that demanded balance and some gumption. In the winter, he discovered downhill skiing, quickly embracing the rush of black diamond runs. Medical school only widened the stage for those outlets. For 3 consecutive winters, he and a group of classmates rented an RV during the holiday break and set off across the western U.S. and Canada in search of the best snow they could find. The trips were part ski safari, part road adventure, and mostly an extended pub crawl between skiing. One New Year's Eve celebration in Alberta, Canada, nearly ended the tradition. After getting thrown out of a bar, Lee and one of his medical school buddies decided to get in an RV and cut donuts with their RV in one of the public parks in Banff, Canada. But maneuver quickly attracted the attention of a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who quickly pulled Lee over. It was clear they had been drinking and in no condition to drive. The Mountie escorted him to the local jail where he spent the night sobering up. Upon leaving the bar, the other 4 guys discovered that the RV had disappeared, leaving them with no place to sleep that night. This was New Year's Eve, it was 10 degrees out and every hotel was booked solid. So the group wandered around for a while looking for the RV, and unable to find it in the middle of the morning hours, they finally found a public restroom in a park where they stood around for hours trying to keep warm. Lee was released after his brother bailed him out the next morning. He promised to return several weeks later to appear in court, but never made that trip as his medical studies were resuming. It took nearly a decade before he ventured back into Canada, cautiously optimistic that whatever statute of limitations might have applied had quietly expired. So that didn't end my search for adrenaline. I had always wanted to fly, obviously. And from a young age, his goal was to one day earn his pilot's license and eventually become certified to fly float planes. So after graduating from medical school, he completed a one-year surgical internship at Maricopa General Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. The hospital happened to be within view of the Phoenix Harbor International Airport, which had a flight school called the Beach Aero Club. Lee started lessons almost immediately. It was June and the days were long. He would rise around 5 o'clock in the morning so he could quickly take a lesson and make it to the hospital by 6 or 6:30, depending upon the rotation. If his schedule would allow it, he would fly multiple days each week. In about 6 weeks, he earned his private pilot's license, and the memory of the moment remains quite vivid. Quote, "My instructor just stepped out of the plane at a small municipal airport where we were the only aircraft in the traffic pattern. The instructor said, quote, 'Take it up and do a few touch and goes.' And just like that, I was a private pilot. After that, Lee flew as much as possible, exploring the region around Phoenix and flying to places such as Sedona and Flagstaff. Sometimes he even took nurses from the hospital up for brunch flights around various places. Over the course of that year, he logged over 100 flight hours and began flying more complex aircraft, including multi-engine ones with his instructor. Every hour I spent flying only made me want to do more of it, he said. But after that internship year ended, he moved to Houston for the next phase of medical training. There he was on call every other night, which meant he really had no time to fly. The required flight reviews came, went, eventually his certification lapsed. Over the years, he experimented with nearly every activity that promised an adrenaline surge. He tried skydiving, though the experience turned out to be less than thrilling than he expected. Jumping tandem with a seasoned instructor from 10,000 feet produced only a brief rush as they exited the plane. But once that fall stabilized, the ground seemed so distant and that sensation of speed basically just faded away. So he tried bungee jumping, which proved to be something entirely different. When he was in his 30s, Lee and his close friend Paul, who had been married to Joyce, his longtime friend from high school, traveled to Amboy, Washington, where the early commercial bungee jumps operated from a platform mounted on basically an abandoned railroad trestle. At that time, it was a little more than a wooden structure and a janky harness system, which has been described as a, quote, rustic leap of faith, unquote. The drop measured nearly 200 feet, and the real test came in the moment before stepping off. Quote, letting go and falling face first from a tall bridge, she recalled, was, quote, frightening in a way you can't prepare for. He and Paul, of course, jumped 3 times that day. For several days afterward, they were both on a high, almost as if the adrenaline was still surging through their bodies. While Lee's son, Brian, didn't share his dad's appetite for the extreme, he learned to admire it. Quote, Dad enjoyed the more extreme things, that's for sure. He loved experiencing life and he wanted to experience all that it had to offer. That made being extreme more than other people's tastes. But he definitely has a lot of great experiences from it. Maybe to some it's more of an adrenaline junkie mentality of that kind of extreme personality. But I think it's Dad just being Dad. He was so great. He is
He's
great.
so great, yeah.
Brian learned how to fly fish and downhill ski from Lee. He used his dad's passions as a cautionary tale for him. Quote, I just don't think I have the same appetite for extreme sports and or activity that he does, he said. Not all of Lee's thrills came from mountains, bridges, and airplanes. For nearly 8 years, he rode custom chopper-style motorcycles with his friends. They even went multiple times to Sturgis, South Dakota, where hundreds of thousands of riders gather each summer. The spectacle stretched his sense of freedom in ways few experiences could match. Then there was Pamplona, Spain.
Oh boy.
When he and his then wife and their close friends Joyce and Paul turned 50, they traveled to Spain to celebrate at the famed San Fermin Festival. Festival's most notable tradition, you've probably heard of it, running of the bulls, was exactly the sort of challenge he found impossible to resist. Participants typically dressed in white and red sashes and scarves, but he and Paul also chose bright baseball caps, yellow for one, orange for the other, so we could help spot each other in the crowd, he said. You can watch, quote, Paul and Lee running with bulls, unquote, on YouTube if you're interested. We're going to be putting photos in the book on YouTube and other places where you can watch this, and pushing a QR code,
Yeah.
you can also watch short videos that sort of back up a lot of these things of this entire book.
Yeah.
Going forward, they ran twice during the festival's early days, sprinting along the narrow cobblestone streets just ahead of the charging bulls and their horns and their thundering hooves. Afterwards, the couples drove down to the coastal city of San Sebastian, where they relaxed on the beach and Paul and he processed the experience. They both realized the festival's run, the final run, was scheduled for the very next morning. Quote, we looked at each other, smiled, and both of us at the same time immediately decided to drive back. They returned to Pamplona in the dawn that next morning and ran a third time in the morning run called the Insierra. Quote, that experience never gets old, he said later. It's an adrenaline rush at moments, honestly, fairly terrifying, end quote. Typically, after running with the bulls, participants remain in the bullfighting arena. This final and chaotic event is not held with the bulls who are involved in the run, but rather younger bulls, also known as vaquiers, whose horns are capped with cork to help prevent injury to participants that are present in the arena. The bulls are released one at a time from a chute into the arena, and many of the participants from the run pile up in a mound, hoping that the bull will jump over them rather than trample them. Quote, and stupid people like Paul and Lee were among those who got down on their knees and balled up right in front of the gate, said Joyce. The crowd of about 30 people were lined up like, quote, little centipedes, forcing the bulls to try and leap over them. Of course, Lee got stomped on and my husband got gored, said Joyce. Fortunately, their injuries were minor. They were like two little boys, she said. Quote, it was hilarious. I have this picture of Lee showing me his battered shoulder and his fingers stuck through the hole of Paul's shirt where the bull gored him. This can also be seen on that same YouTube video. Looking back across decades of adventures, the pattern was unmistakable. From bareback rides through the woods to motorcycles, ski slopes, bridges, streets with bulls, he had rarely passed up an opportunity to test himself. Lee's sister Kim noted that whether it was running with bulls, skydiving, bungee jumping, or riding these Harleys, he had always been a person who embraced life and engaged in all kinds of physical hobbies. When he experienced polo, it seemed like a natural extension of that game. Speed, horses, competition, and just enough danger to keep his life interesting. In many ways, it became the ultimate expression of the thrill-seeking spirit it had followed Lee since his boyhood. While the chase of the thrill would ultimately alter the course of his life, and it didn't actually bring an end for his need for it. Almost 30 years after his bungee jumping experience, he did it again after his accident. All three of his regular caregivers accompanied him to the Central Oregon Bungee Adventures in a state park in Central Oregon, which is not far from Bend, where they are currently living. Its platform sits 300 feet above the Crooked River Gorge for a 250-foot descent. The tallest commercial bungee jump in North America, by the way. We jumped, or more accurately, I was thrown off the bridge by the employees, he said, quote, it wasn't quite as exciting as the first time I did it, but unique as I believe the company had never thrown a quadriplegic off of a bridge. When we had made the arrangements on the phone, almost as an afterthought, Lee mentioned that he was a quad. The staff member was amazingly chill about it. Quote, we don't have a problem with that. We'll just get it done, he said. We're actually looking forward to it. Lee's brother Tom, however, was stunned that he would take that kind of risk and questioned why he would do that. Quote, he could have gotten injured, Kim recalled Tom saying. Quote, and I thought, what? And break his neck? When you're catastrophically injured, one needs to embrace life and do what makes you feel alive, and that makes him feel alive, makes him happy, then so be it. So being able to do that thing, like he used to climb mountains in Africa, run with the bulls, good for him. Good for him being true to who he is and going out and doing those kind of things. So that's basically a chapter that sort of describes kind of my early life, the stage of life that occurred before this injury. So the next chapter is going to be basically me in the intensive care unit at the Desert Regional Hospital there in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And that journey, which just begins the multiple chapters of this book going forward.
Yeah.
So hopefully people will be somewhat interested and drawn in to hear the kind of the good and the bad that occurs when you become a quadriplegic. And the bad being just all of the details of what goes into
Absolutely.
being unable to really do anything functional. I can move my arms, but I need people, this village of people, to basically allow me to live. And this book is that journey.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, love it.
So, are there any questions?
We would love to have questions.
There's no questions yet. We did have over 100 people
Oh, nice.
at one point on the live.
Nice.
Whoa.
I think
Really?
125 was what it capped out at.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Over
growing,
1,000
isn't
people
it?
have joined.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
wow.
We tripled what we did
Last
last
week.
week.
Yeah, so if there's any questions, we'd love to take some questions.
Definitely.
Yes.
They're all joining. They're all joining.
That's okay. It's a good chapter.
That was a good chapter.
Yeah.
Trying
Well
to think
said.
of a question that we might even have. It's hard because we live with Lee every day, and so we see it from a whole different perspective than someone that has not been with someone that has been injured like this, and how much we take for granted all the things we can do for ourselves. I think that's
Yeah.
been the biggest mind-blowing thing for me is
Yeah.
how dependent Lee is on everyone to do
everything.
things for
Yeah.
him. And so it's so wonderful that he can still go on adventures and go bungee jumping and still be a thrill seeker and
Yeah,
even
exactly.
after the accident
Exactly.
And just
And-
be a person.
and just be a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, an injury like this sort of depersonalizes you and
Mm.
makes you feel like you're only a observer of life and not
Mm-hmm.
actually being a participant.
Yeah.
So
But Lee is still Lee, and we
Yeah.
still find fun every
Things to
day.
do. For
Yeah.
sure. Mm-hmm.
and reliving
That's our
all,
motto.
yeah, reliving this, you know,
Yeah.
learning to emerge from an injury like this and get to the point where you actually do look forward to waking up in the morning
Yeah.
and doing something, even though
Right.
going to bed at the end of the day
Sometimes can be
is
daunting.
struggling and you don't
Yeah.
really want to do it because of the nighttime issues of literally not being able to move
Yeah.
one muscle. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
it's really been it's been great. And
Me-
these chapters are
Meg says, what's an adventure you're most excited for that's yet to come?
boy,
Ooh, good question.
that's a good question.
I know we want to go to New
New
York.
York? I was gonna say.
Yeah, we want to continue to
Travel.
travel, and we'll go over some of those travels in later chapters. But
Traveling is always quite the adventure.
oh my
You should
gosh,
see us
yeah,
there's
we'll-
travel.
A lot about that.
And that's in another chapter, but New York is on our horizon
I would say
because
yes.
we all love going to musicals, so we thought it'd be really fun
I'd like to go
to
see
New York.
Elton John is
The Devil Wears
Devil
Prada.
Wears Prada. Elton John's
Sorry?
doing the music.
Yeah,
Devil Wears Prada when it comes to New York. It's
yeah, when it
would be
premieres.
so cool.
Yeah.
But
Probably in
I'd
the fall.
really love to do that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. I hadn't even really thought about it.
Paige
But-
says, if you could talk to your younger self before the accident, what would you say?
Well, I'd probably say stay away from horses. as much as
You grew up with them.
Oh.
And like,
yeah.
that's a good question.
I know,
Dave.
I broke my leg when I was 14, a horse running into me,
Yeah.
and that might have been a
Sign.
sign.
Well, you broke it playing
The
polo
polo, too.
before your big injury too. You broke your leg.
Yeah, yeah, that was just
Like a year before?
yeah, it was about a year or two before. I was just at the Bend Polo Club practicing. My horse went down and it rolled over my leg and snapped it. And that adventure really wasn't that bad because it didn't really hurt that much.
Huh.
And
Okay.
you know, didn't keep me from going back after
Right.
No.
about 2 months.
Yeah.
Getting back on and riding. I just felt like, well, that's just part of what polo is because it's a fairly dangerous sport. So
Yeah, I know it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that might have been my younger life going, maybe I shouldn't step up and keep playing polo. And
Yeah.
yeah, but good question, Dave.
Mhm.
Hadn't talked about that with you before, but
Yeah.
we'll get back into talking every few weeks or so.
Yeah.
Meg says you should try New York bagels when you go to New York.
Oh, well, alrighty then.
Sure,
New York bagels.
Oh my
They are
gosh.
the best. Yeah.
We will do that.
That's funny.
I
And
love
the
it.
For
famous
sure.
delis,
Yes.
Oh,
Oh my
gosh. So many
gosh.
things in New
Yeah.
York.
Oh,
For sure.
For sure.
eating and the
Yeah.
meals, the restaurants. Oh my gosh, so much fun.
No, for sure.
What do you think you've learned most about yourself since the injury?
Ooh,
I
that's a
would
good
say
one.
that there's a resiliency that people have.
Mhm.
I think humans underestimate their ability to adapt to
Yeah.
whatever is served up on their plate.
Mm.
And
Yes.
I will say.
I'd say that is kind of the biggest thing I've learned. And it's just not about me, it's about everybody. Because you hear about people that have even way worse problems than I have, which kind of seems a little inconceivable.
Huh?
You know,
Yeah.
waking up after an accident with it being basically a quadriplegic, which people hear the word and they don't really process it. I don't
Mhm.
think. I don't think I ever processed it. Quadriplegic. What I mean,
Yeah.
that happens to other people,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
then when it happens to yourself, you find you sort of regress into this dark cocoon where you don't want to
Yeah.
do anything, you don't feel like you could do anything, you don't feel like you're really human. But you eventually crawl out of that hole and realize that there's so much more to life than
Yeah.
doing things that you otherwise need to be able to move. And it's, I think,
For sure.
most of it relationships with people,
Yeah.
with your friends, your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those peeps have stepped up
Yes.
to make my
Surrounded
life,
by a lot.
yeah, to make it
wonderful
not
people.
just bearable,
Yeah.
to make it an actual life that you're
Yeah.
looking forward
Yeah.
to exploring,
For sure.
you know, down the road.
Love that.
Somebody's asked if you would ever get on a horse again.
Oh, that's a good question.
We had talked
In
about
Bend, there's a group of people, and it's a charity. It's called Healing Reigns, and what they do is they get people who are unable or have they've had things happen to them, or they were born with, say, cerebral palsy, or have had a stroke, or
Yeah.
you know, a traumatic brain injury, and they use the relationship that people develop being around animals.
Yeah.
And horses are, for a lot of people, healing. And they get them on horses. Sometimes they tie them in so they don't fall off. But they start them off petting the horses, feeding them by hand, brushing them, grooming them, learning about them. Because horses, even though they're pretty dumb and they have, you know, a brain the size of a walnut, they are intuitive like other animals. And people actually learn and grow by getting on horses.
That's cool. But would you ever get on one?
Well, I was getting there. I was going to say no
Yeah.
in a word. But
Sure.
yeah, it's interesting. Horses are healing, but gosh, for me,
It would just
I kind of had a problem.
Yeah.
So no, I would
Probably not.
probably not.
All right, I think that is all of our questions. Did
Oh,
you have
very
anything
good.
else to say?
Anything else to say? Come back in a week because the next chapters start at that actual process of starting the life. And having gone back and relived it,
Yeah.
it's fairly interesting actually to learn what's involved with being
Yeah.
a quad.
That's for sure.
Oh, we have one more question. One more
Right.
question.
Good.
Let's see. Well, they said they have one more question.
So where are they?
Oh, where are they? Oh, they'll be there. We'll find them. Part of these chapters
Says
is
one
learning
sec.
to use modern ways of communicating
Right.
with people. I mean, we're old. And,
Exactly.
and you know, having any sort
I'm
of
trying to figure this
you
whole
know,
thing out. It's been
Totally.
quite the adventure.
yeah, any sort
In
of
its- in and of
technology.
itself.
Yes. Thank goodness we have all these young people around us.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh,
to help
yes.
us.
What would you tell someone who just had a spinal cord injury? Any words of encouragement?
Oh my.
Ooh, that's a good
Oh
one.
gosh, that's a good one. I would
And
say-
Meg says you don't look a day over 50.
Oh well, thank you very much. It's amazing what you can do with filters on these new phones.
No, there's no filter.
How come we don't have
That's
filters?
funny.
The only filters are us talking, trying to filter out things that are probably inappropriate.
Oh my God.
That's
Gosh,
well, good
one, it
question.
depends upon the severity of the injury because people can undergo spinal cord injuries. The initial injury often isn't as permanent as you think it's going to be. Because the cord goes through a shock and oftentimes there's a lot of recovery. So you have to be optimistic, which is
Sure. It's
difficult,
hard. Yeah.
difficult at best, but you have to depend on all those people around you
Yeah.
and people who treat people like me from the emergency room through intensive care, through
Yes.
getting home, learning to live, you know, trusting all those people who are reaching out
Yeah.
to take care of you. You need to listen to them and just trust that they
Trust.
are actually honestly
Yeah.
caring.
Yes.
And a lot of
Yes.
those
Wow.
people end up being large parts of your life. And
I love it.
you never know which ones they're going to be.
Yeah.
Kim says, good genes maybe. You look more and more like our dad as you age, and he aged well, don't you think?
Aww.
Oh, who said that?
Kim.
Your
Oh.
sister.
Your sister.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking like my dad.
In a good way.
In a good way.
I think I
have good
remember him
genes.
when he was 50, and not when he was 69.
I
Thank you,
love
Kim.
it.
And somebody, user 3697, says, is using an exoskeleton device at all possible for you?
You, they, it,
An exoskeleton device.
yeah, the exoskeleton. It's actually part of the book coming up. So you'll have to wait and read, and actually see pictures of it at
Yeah.
rehab hospitals.
That's
But yeah, the
crazy.
technology of exoskeletons is really interesting, and there's all sorts of different ones. So yeah, I'll go over that. Some injuries lend themselves to them more than other ones.
It's true. Yeah.
But yeah, that technology is rapidly growing, and I think will become more and more. You'll probably see it more and more
Yeah.
out there. You don't really see it nowadays, but then I don't think you saw quadriplegics getting on airplanes either, and
Right.
and
Too.
traveling.
True.
But yeah, that's a you must have had experience or seen or heard of a friend or somebody that had gone through this.
Yeah. This person. Yeah.
Christian Creve says that it's okay. He's starting to look like his dad too.
That's
Well, that's a good
Best
thing,
friends.
Chris. I've known
Funny.
your dad and knew your dad for
yeah.
40 years.
Good
Yes.
one.
Yeah, some people don't age. Your dad didn't and you aren't, but when I look in the mirror, oh, for God's sake. Ugh.
Please. Captain of Blaze. Oh.
Oh, okay. That was a good one.
All right.
Anything else?
Any last questions?
Last words of encouragement. Encourage
That
me
was
to
good.
come back in a week
We will be back
and
in a
we'll be
week.
read
back.
some more
And we'll read some
chapters.
more.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank-
so much for joining.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this
And
has
It's
been
been awesome.
tell friends that you know to chime in, and
Yes.
they can do that
We would
through the
love that.
technology that we're going through and
Yeah.
experiencing.
To repost.
It's
Yeah.
reposting, because the book nowadays, the publishing of a book is way different
Different
than it
than it
was
used to
even
be.
10 years ago, and involves
For sure.
a lot of social media now.
So we're
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah,
build.
Yeah, the publishers need to see before they actually consider being involved with publishing
Yeah.
a book.
So
So,
how many followers? you
Yeah,
have?
how many
That's
followers
just so
do you
different.
have?
Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
those followers on something like this, they grow exponentially
Yeah.
when friends tell their friends
Yeah.
and their friends tell their friends and family about it. And obviously people who have been injured, or families of people who have been injured, or
Injured, yeah.
friends of people who have been injured,
Mhm.
might be interested too, because
Yeah.
there's, I think,
What a good
a
information.
250,000 people with severe spinal cord injuries
Yeah.
that are in this country, and
Yeah.
they're sort of the silent majority. You don't really hear about them.
Mhm. For
So,
sure.
yeah, just try to join us if you
Yeah.
want to spend a weird hour of your life on a Sunday evening,
That's right.
kind of going through this journey.
And happy Mother's Day to
Oh,
all the
my
moms.
gosh.
Mother's Day.
Yes,
Thank
we
you,
all had
Riley, for
mothers.
reminding
Yes.
us of
Happy
that.
Mother's Day.
I know, these are both mothers.
Thank you for spending it with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
been a fun day.
Fun day. Bye.
Bye-bye.